Welcome to Tasting with Mike and Matt. And today we're going to do Tennessee whiskeys. Matt, you grew up in Tennessee,
Yep.
and you have a fondness for it. So we thought we'd do something a little different here. You know, when you grew up, I guess Tennessee whiskey was Jack Daniels and George Dickel.
That's right, yep.
So there's several new ones out right now. We thought we would focus on those and bring a little attention to them, and hopefully people will learn to enjoy them. The first one we have is the Nelson Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey, and then we have the Hunters from the Leaper's Fork Distillery, and the newest Uncle Nearest, which is a sort of an offshoot of Jack Daniels, being that Nearest Green was the person who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey, and they've started their own distillery and making some whiskey, so we thought we would do those today.
Sounds great.
All right.
Let's do it.
So the first thing we're going to do is the Nelson Greenbrier. It's a Tennessee whiskey made in Nashville. Originally it was made at a distillery just a little bit north of Nashville, but the Nelson brothers started this up when they found out that they had a distilling heritage. They didn't even realize it because the brand went out of business back with Prohibition.
Okay, so they were making it back before Prohibition.
Yeah, they were actually the biggest Tennessee whiskey in the nation before Prohibition, outselling Jack Daniels and George Dickel and
Wow.
and everything. And Charlie Nelson and his brother got together and created this small distillery there in Nashville. Most of the whiskey is made in Nashville, but they've contract distilled with another Tennessee distillery to make the bulk of their whiskey right now, because their distillery in Nashville is too small to meet demand.
That's a good problem to have.
Yes. And this is interesting because it is a wheated Tennessee whiskey.
What are most Tennessee whiskeys?
Most Tennessee whiskeys are a traditional whiskey of corn, rye, and malted barley, but this is corn, wheat, and malted barley.
Okay. Now, what makes a Tennessee whiskey a Tennessee whiskey?
Well, what makes Tennessee whiskey is they mellow it through charcoal, sugar maple charcoal. Jack Daniels and George Dickel use real tall vats of charcoal to mellow their whiskey, but Nelson Greenbrier's mellowing process is basically a 55-gallon barrel filled with charcoal, and they mellow it through that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they do things a little different then.
They do things a little different, but they're doing it right. I think they're making some really good whiskey.
Okay.
So let's nose this.
Almost like getting a little banana in there.
A little banana,
Yeah.
lots of vanilla,
Lots of vanilla.
a little bit of oak, and maybe a little smokiness from that charcoal mellowing process.
Mm-hmm. It's got a really nice nose.
Very nice nose, and very reasonably priced. We bought this bottle at the distillery. It was like $35.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like the design too, like the...
That's very traditional design. Basically, they took one of the old Nelson Greenbrier pre-prohibition labels and updated it for the modern regulations,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they've done. It's a beautiful label. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's taste it.
Yeah, you get like that. Like I'm getting a fruit. I don't know if it tastes like bananas. It might not be the banana flavoring. Very sweet.
I'm getting like a little apple, green apple, particularly
Yeah.
on the finish.
Yeah, like a sour apple.
Mm-hmm.
And then the finish is nice and
A
long.
little bit of a peppery spice,
Mm-hmm.
and you get that little bit of smokiness from that maple charcoal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get that maple hint in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very good.
it's very good, you know, and $35 a bottle.
You know, it's a
The
great
only
price.
problem is it's got a very limited distribution right now. You can only get it basically in parts of Tennessee.
Wow. So you can't get this around here in Louisville, right?
I don't don't think so.
Okay.
You might have someone like Chris Zaborowski at Westport Whiskey and Wine might get a few bottles in.
Okay.
He usually, when he's in Tennessee or something like that, he'll get some for the store and
Okay.
whatever. So let's try it with a cranberry.
That brings the apple
Right.
right out there.
Actually, kind of ripens the apple too. It's more. It's not quite as tart,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it kind of mutes the pepper.
it does. Mm-hmm.
But it brings out that vanilla too on the finish.
So to say, it makes it more of a creamy finish for me.
Yeah. You get a little bit of that sweet oak and everything, but you get that creamy vanilla too, and it's very nice.
Very nice.
Let's try it with pecan, see what it does. Well, that brings out the smokiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice oak flavor as well.
You still get that vanilla. Just a hint of the fruit though. It kind of dampens the fruit down a little.
It does, yeah. Peppery spice.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good.
It's a great little Tennessee whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got a great future in front of them.
Yeah. When did they start back?
Oh, when did they start distilling? It's been about 6 years ago, I guess,
Okay.
that they started putting things together. This whiskey is, they didn't release a Tennessee whiskey until they had some 4-year-old product that they made.
Okay.
They survived before that by releasing the Bell Mead bourbon that they supplied, got from Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and then finished it in different casks, like sherry cask and port wine cask.
Mm-hmm. I've tried some. Those are good as well.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are. They've got great palates, what can I say?
Mm-hmm.
Great whiskey. Now this, the Hunter's Select Barrel Tennessee Bourbon Whiskey. It's not a Tennessee whiskey.
Okay.
Matter of fact, when I was talking to the distiller down at Leaper's Fork, he really preferred to make bourbon over Tennessee whiskey. But, you know, his business partners all said, no, you got to make some Tennessee whiskey somewhere along
If
the
you're in
line.
Tennessee,
If
yeah.
you're in Tennessee. But this is actually, I believe, it's a 95 proof, and it's 9 years old, so it's some sourced whiskey that they got. They don't say where it's sourced from, but I do believe that this is was sourced from a major Tennessee distillery. You know, they got a
Okay.
non-disclosure act, but put it this way, you know, Jack Daniels is not sourcing any whiskey, but George Dickel has been doing that.
Okay. So, you know, you can deduce
Yeah,
where it's
and George Dickel did make some Tennessee bourbon without using the charcoal mellowing process.
Okay.
So that's probably what this is. So,
All right.
lots of vanilla, little corn.
Corn. Maybe a little bit of hint of chocolate.
A little hint of chocolate, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting any fruit on the nose.
Not really, no.
Maybe a little bit of baking spice.
Yeah.
So let's taste it. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
You do get a little fruit on the taste. I'm getting like a little cherry or raspberry fruit
I
note.
can get some cherry in there, yeah, and I'm definitely getting like a chocolate
Yeah.
there with henna caramel. Not a long drawn out finish, but pretty tasty. I'd say, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty good stuff. Yeah.
So let's try it with cranberry and see what it does.
Mm.
Makes it creamy.
Makes it creamy. Turns that into like I'm getting like a citrusy kind of,
Yeah.
like a tangerine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives it like a nice fruity kind of finish too. for
Yeah.
me. Yeah. And a little bit of like maybe a white peppery finish.
Yeah, just
Slightly.
something more floral than a black pepper.
Mhm. Yeah. You can definitely taste the big difference in the bourbon versus the Tennessee whiskey, you know? Like this
Yeah.
tastes like a bourbon, you know?
Right.
Mhm. Very good.
So let's try it with a pecan. It definitely brings out that citrus.
Mhm. Yep. Oak and citrus is basically the two things I'm getting with the nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the finish, I'm getting a little bit of that pepper.
Mhm.
It's a little drier finish,
Yeah, definitely.
but very nice.
Mhm.
It's a great whiskey.
Yep.
I think that with the Nelson Greenbrier, that would make a very good old fashioned.
With the Nelson Greenbrier.
Yeah. This, I think, would make a really good whiskey sour.
Yeah. How much is it for one of these bottles?
You know, I don't remember, but I don't remember it being terribly expensive. $45 or so.
Is it something you could find locally?
I don't know. I
Okay.
haven't looked for it locally.
Yeah.
I bought this at the distillery when we were down there about 3 years ago.
Okay.
It's a beautiful little distillery. Highly recommend touring it. It's got a very nice, almost a log cabin-like look for the distillery, and they've got it set up beautifully, and just a wonderful country setting.
Mhm. Yeah, I haven't toured any Tennessee distilleries, so I'm gonna have to make a trip down there.
Next time you're visiting your parents.
Yeah, next time I visit my parents. Yeah.
So the last one we have here is the Nearest Green. It's a Tennessee whiskey. It's founded by Fawn Weaver, who started life as a reporter, basically, who did a story, was very interested in Nearest Green.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jack Daniels never made a secret of the fact that Jack Daniels learned to make whiskey from Nearest Green.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even in their 1960s booklet on Jack Daniels, they talk about it, you know. So it's been around. They just never really talked about it and, you know, made a point of it. Well, she went down there and did this story and was fascinated by it. And the more she learned and the more she talked to the people down there, the more she liked it, and they started doing their own Nearest Green label.
That's great. That's awesome.
They're sourcing this whiskey right now. Once again, it's a Tennessee whiskey. I think we know who they're sourcing it from.
Right. Yeah.
But, and it's not Jack Daniels, because Jack Daniels sells every drop they can get. But it's a really good whiskey.
Is Jack Daniels the biggest selling whiskey?
It's the biggest
In the
selling
world?
American whiskey
American
in the
whiskey.
world. Johnny Walker is more popular than Jack Daniels worldwide.
Okay.
But Jack Daniels is still the biggest selling out there. Like I said, they're selling every drop they can make.
Mm-hmm.
and Nearest Green is still pretty closely associated with them. They do a lot of events together and everything. Brown Foreman has been supportive of Fawn's project, and
Oh, that's interesting.
so interesting nose. Lots of vanilla,
Lots of vanilla.
maybe a little,
Getting the fruit in there.
yeah, a little, maybe it is apple.
Yeah. Maybe like a red delicious.
Yeah, very ripe apple. A little bit of a spiciness to it, and just a little bit of smoke. It's that
Right.
Tennessee charcoal mellowed. So let's take a taste.
I get a lot of that charcoal in the finish of this one.
Yeah.
Lots of vanilla, a little bit of caramel. I can't quite place the fruit.
Yeah.
But there is fruit in there.
There's a fruit in there, but it's elusive.
Yeah, yeah. But man, the finish is like, it's a big, strong finish.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of the charcoal, a little bit of oak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good.
So let's try this with the cranberry.
Becca and I ate at a restaurant. Well, we got delivery from a restaurant that makes, it's called like the adult breakfast burger, and they put Uncle Nearest in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That definitely brings out the fruit. And it is, to me, an apple.
Yeah. More of a green apple with that, I would say. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like a Jolly Rancher apple.
Yeah. I love Jolly Ranchers. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've had them.
But it's nice. It
really
kind of
nice.
takes some of the smoke out of it. The
Yeah.
finish is still nice. Not quite as dry as the...
Right, it's not as dry. Yeah, more maybe a sweeter.
Yeah,
slightly
you're
peppery.
getting that apple that just lingers into the finish.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not like an overly complicated whiskey, but what it's doing right.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's try it with pecan.
Oh, give me like cocoa.
Yeah. Some chocolate.
Some chocolate.
And interesting, the finish goes from a green apple to almost like a lemon zest.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives it definitely like a zesty, citrusy. Get that charcoal is back in the finish with the pecan for me. Yeah, really good stuff.
So,
I think all three of these are really, really good.
right.
Yeah.
So they do make good whiskey down in Tennessee.
They do.
Tennessee should be very proud of their heritage and keep it up. You see more and more distilleries opening up in Tennessee every day, so
Cheers to that.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Here's to Tennessee.